No longer a sub-brand of Oppo, Realme has been making quite a name for themselves ever since they landed here in the Philippines. With the success of the Realme C1 selling like hotcakes and getting wiped out from stores, especially when it goes on sale, it's always exciting to see what Realme has up their sleeves. We reviewed the Realme 2 Pro before and we loved it. But sadly, unfortunately, it didn't arrive on our shores. Instead, we got the Realme 3. And by the way, if you missed the unboxing of this thing, check it out over here. Now, if the front looks familiar, well that's because just like the Realme 2 Pro, you get the same dewdrop notch display, but it's a tad bit smaller at 6.2 inches. Above in the notch, you get a 13 megapixel selfie shooter and the call speaker. You get the power button on the right, then the volume keys, and a triple card slot on the left. And down below are the speaker grills, headphone jack, and sadly, it still sports a micro USB port. The Realme 3 comes in two colors, dynamic black and radiant blue, which we have right here. And I kinda dig it. It has this gradient unibody design to it that most smartphones have today, and honestly, it's not that bad. The thing is, it's made of plastic, but the front is covered by Corning Gorilla Glass 3. At the back, we find a dual camera setup consisting of a 13 megapixel main camera with an aperture rating of f1.8 and a 2 megapixel f2.4 depth sensing one. And we also get a fingerprint scanner. It's a small thing, but I think the yellow outline on the main camera adds a little flair to this phone, making sure you know this is the Realme 3 or a Realme product. It's lightweight and has a good grip to it, although it's quite prone to fingerprints. So it's a good thing that they included a jelly case in the box. So, you know, protect you from the fingerprints. Now, if pixel peeping is your thing, you might be dismayed to know that this phone's 6.2-inch screen is only rocking a resolution of 1520 by 720. Now, it's not horrible to say the least, it's subpar. Despite that, colors still look good and viewing angles are acceptable. You can tweak the color temperature of the display in the settings, and there's also night shield that reduces blue light from the screen to avoid eye strain. In case you're wondering, there's no way to fully hide the notch. Now for audio, this thing is horrible. I mean, it can get really loud, but it's so easy to cover this bottom firing speaker down here. And well, I don't know, you guys be the judge.
It has only been a month since Samsung launched the Galaxy S10. It has only been a month. Now they've announced yet another set of devices for the
and like, I don't know.
What up guys, Miguel here of Yugatech, and we're taking a quick look at one of Samsung's mid-range smartphones.
So it's not technically horrible like I said earlier. It can get pretty loud, and for its price, it's not that bad. But I really think they could have done better. The Realme 3 is running Android 9 Pie out of the box, skinned with the newest ColorOS 6. The UI kinda looks similar to Xiaomi's MIUI, especially when you bring down the shortcut menu from the top of the screen. In my opinion, the tile type toggle and overall new design looks pleasing to the eyes. There's an app drawer that you can access by swiping from the bottom of the screen, a smart assistant that you can see on the furthest part of the screen, which is a convenient way to view your weather info, your step tracker, photos, and more. And lastly, a smart bar feature that was also found in the Realme 2 Pro that lets you access certain apps conveniently. Pre-installed apps from Google are present, and I like that there were only a few Realme proprietary apps installed on the phone. And useful ones at that, like Game Launcher and the Phone Manager. All in all, you're getting 50 gigs of usable storage out of 64. It's also worth mentioning that you can expand your storage via microSD cards of up to 256 gigs. Powering this phone is the MediaTek Helio P60, which is known to be an energy-efficient chip, Mali G72 MP3 GPU, and 4 gigs of RAM. Performance is A-OK and multitasking is a breeze. Games run smoothly, but as expected with a phone of this caliber, it's best to set the game settings to default or medium. Although, running games in high graphics settings are playable as well. Here are the benchmark scores we got, and it's looking pretty good. But, comparing it to the Oppo F9, which also carries a Helio P60, the scores are lower. although this can be attributed to the F9 having 6 gigs of RAM compared to the Realme 3's 4. For gaming results, do stay tuned. We'll be doing an episode of Can It Game on this thing pretty soon. We're also impressed with this phone's face unlock and fingerprint scanner. It's hella fast and it literally unlocks your phone in a blink of an eye. For power, the Realme 3 is equipped with a 4230 mAh battery, and it was able to last us a day or two if you stretch it. That includes connecting to the Wi-Fi or mobile data every now and then, playing games, taking pictures, and other everyday tasks. Our PCMark battery test yielded us a good 11 hours and 40 minutes, while our video loop test lasted for an impressive 15 hours and 23 minutes. Charging took 2 hours at most, and look, it also has this cool holographic-ish animation while charging, so that's pretty dope. Apart from battery, one of the main highlights of this phone is also its cameras. It's got a 13 megapixel f1.8 plus 2 megapixel f2.4 dual rear camera setup and a 13 megapixel front camera with an aperture rating of f2.0. For the rear camera functionalities, you get portrait mode, which has a fixed blurriness level, AI beauty, panorama, expert, time-lapse, and slow-mo. They also have nightscape mode, which is basically night mode and chroma boost that increases the photo's saturation to make it look more vibrant. On the other hand, for selfies, you're getting AI beauty, panorama, and time-lapse. Now for picture quality, I can say that the Realme 3 isn't too shabby. Pictures came out good, especially in daylight. They're sharp and the colors are just right. With chroma boost turned on, I didn't find that much difference between it and the original picture, which is fine for me, and I noticed that the pictures are also a bit clearer. Portrait mode is average, but still does its job in separating the subject from the background. It's legit, and the photos came out pretty good. And it wasn't like as wowza as you'd expect it to be, because the picture still came out with a little noise. But, you know, it was acceptable. Selfies, on the other hand, are decent, and I like that it stays true to the skin tone. The AI beauty mode also does a pretty good job in smoothing out the skin without overdoing it too much. Video-wise, you'll be able to shoot up to 1080p at 30 frames per second. Quality is pretty decent. Unfortunately, there isn't any optical image stabilization or electronic image stabilization, so keep your hands steady while shooting. You see, ever since we got our hands on with the Realme 2 Pro last year, we knew right then and there that Realme was going to be a game changer. It happened with the C1 when it was selling out really fast, and we believe that the Realme 3 is headed towards the same direction, especially because of the value it provides. If you can get past that 720p resolution and micro USB port, you're actually getting a pretty solid device with a good mid-range chipset, huge battery, Android 9 Pie out of the box, and a pretty good set of cameras, all for only 9,990 pesos. That's for our variant, of course, which is the 4GB of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage version. But there's also 2 other variants you can get. That will be available on April 6 alongside the 3GB of RAM, 64 gigs internal storage variant, which is priced at 7,990 pesos. So if you wanted to shave off a few bucks here and there, maybe you should get that one. On March 25, there will be a 3rd variant available, rocking 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of internal storage. It will be an online exclusive via Shopee, and it will cost you 6,990 pesos. And for once, you're getting all these good stuff from a non-Xiaomi device, if you know what I'm trying to say here. Now, after all of that, if you're still gonna ask us if this phone is worth getting, the answer to that is a big yes. So what did you guys think of the Realme 3? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to smack that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit that bell icon so you get notified of our future uploads. Be sure to visit yugatech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. Again, this has been Miguel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!